Okay.
Eric,
Yeah,
I'd love to hear that song again.
sure.
This is a song that I actually just heard Eric played once, maybe a couple of years ago when we were living together in the lighthouse, and it's called If Not Now, Then When.
Everyone I see is a thought of what I used to believe. I thought I was alone and separate until you told me it was just a dream. And it takes no time if I want to see it. If I want to stop feeling this pain, I don't have to keep on falling over. If I just let you in my heart again. If not now, then when? Thought I was a symbol of shame when I forgot your name. I thought I was alone and different until you told me that I'm still the same. And it takes no time if I want to hear it. If I want to stop feeling this pain, no, I don't have to keep on falling over. If I just let you in my heart again. And if not now, then when? If not now, what then? I know the pain will never end if I don't let you in my heart again. So if not now, then when? If not now, what then? I know I'll finally be at peace when I just let you in my heart again. So if not now, then when? takes no time if I want to see it. If I want to stop feeling this pain, no, I don't have to keep on falling over. If I just let you in my heart again. And if not now, then when? If not now, then when? Yeah.
Hearing a song like that just feels like any kind of talk about any idea just feels so irrelevant. Because that reminds me, like, it's interesting because this song has been on my mind for the last few years, actually, ever since I heard it the first time. And it's always been coming to my mind from time to time. And recently, I heard this talk, can't remember by whom, but I think it talked about awakening is it is only now. And if you think that it's going to happen sometime in the future, it's really basically saying it's not going to happen now. It's not going to happen at all. So I guess like we've been, heard about it so many times. Like it's now, now, now. But the fact is, the future is really only in the now. The future is a concept which is not now. So basically, if we really see it that way, awakening is either now or not now, or so there is really no future except in the now as an opposite. So in that way, like, every moment is really the opportunity to wake up. And then like that comes the question what it means to wake up. Like that becomes a concept in the mind as well. Like, okay, if this moment is to wake up now, and if I think there is a journey and it's going to be tomorrow, which means it's not going to happen now, then what it means, what does that mean to wake up now? And the mind cannot understand it because it's really beyond the thoughts. And today we talked about, at lunch, this topic of trust. Like, what are we really trusting? Like, really? Is there a object for us to put our trust in and then thinking that will get us somewhere? What is that we're trusting? Trusting that things will work together for good. Everything will work out. But the goal of anything, like, is really for us to leap beyond this consciousness that's got caught in this dualistic consciousness. And this whole life event is that dualistic consciousness. And the goal is to leap beyond that completely. How to leap beyond that? If we see life as separate events, one cause another, and as life goes on, things may play out, may not play out, then that's like extremely frustrating, because that acquires our attention. That acquires our attention to be put outside on the screen, on the events. But if we really see the whole life as one big event, it's not really separate events out there, like one cause another. The reason that we say one cause another is really because we can see the way that they all contribute to each other's unfolding. One event seems to contribute to the other events unfolding, and then to the next moment, to the next moment. But if you trace back, you can see there is no division point. There's like no separate little events going on. It's like this whole life is one event, and you're already on the boat. It's already, like, from the beginning of the universe, it's already set. Nothing happened yesterday caused today's event. It was like this one thing that's flowing, and everything is going with the flow, and you are going with the flow as well. Everything is going that way. The mind can recognize that or not, but the fact is, this is just one event going on. And the linear time, make it seem like an illusion of somehow it's going forward and it's not happening yet, and it's not decided yet. But it's all an illusion, it's a trick of time. And if we can see that, if we can see, not necessarily we have to completely experience the simultaneity of time, but even if we can see that, yes, I can't really say that yesterday caused today. It really seems like everything happened, and I can trace back to 10 years, to 20 years, to when I was born, to if my mom didn't go there, like, nothing would happen today. Like, it's just one big flow that's going on, and regardless of what you're thinking, you're going to keep going with the flow that's already set. So in that way, the whole flow doesn't require our attention. We don't have to invest our mind energy into thinking, how can we change the flow? It's not going to change. It's going to be whatever it's going to be. And it doesn't really require attention. That's the trick. If our attention is not put into the screen or into the how do I manipulate that, then it's going to be leap beyond that. It just has to be, because that's the essence of who we are. And if we're not caught in the illusion, then it's got clarity comes to the mind. That's just how it happens. You don't have to do anything to make it happen. It's just to really see the truth as true and the false as false, That's why we can trust. That's why we say trust and transcendence, because it is not about what's going to happen tomorrow, whether I can make it in this lifetime, or who is the one that I'm going to be with. It's not about that, because once we really trust what's going on, the mind will leap and will transcend. There will be no one that's living this life anymore. And that's why we say it is now or never, because you can withdraw your attention now, and you can only do that now. You can't just keep thinking about it and then hoping to do it tomorrow. You can withdraw your attention now. Or, in another word, just put your focus observing that. If there is a focus that you can focus on, there's a target you can focus on, instead of focusing on how the script is going and how to change it, and hoping something happens and something don't, then put your attention on what is arising. What is arising within? What is my interpretation? Because the interpretation is always one-sided, personal interpretation. That is what is to be forgiven. When the Course is talking about forgiveness, it's really not talking about the event that is to be forgiven, but our interpretation, our one-sided judgment, conclusion, that is to be forgiven or to be let go of, so that we can gain a whole perspective of what's really going on. Those judgment and conclusions are blocking our vision, blocking our access to the bigger picture. That's not through intellectual understanding, like let's analyze what is the bigger picture. No, it's really just letting go of the conclusion that we put onto any kind of events, any kind of happenings that's arising, then we can see. That's why it's really simple and it's really difficult, because it's really just now, this moment, we're doing it. We shift our attention, and it's difficult because the ego will want to tell us that it's not going to be something that simple. And as long as we're caught in the thought, we follow that, and we believe in that, and then we just caught in the sleeping state. When I drove here with JP, I was talking about the limitation of language and how limited teaching seem to be while using language, because just as soon as I say something, then I imply the opposite is not true. Like if I say this path is a path of vigilance, then I imply not vigilance is not the path. But I can say not vigilance is a path too. So it's like both is true. There's no partial truth, basically saying if anything that is exclusive of anything else, then that is not true. However, I have to say that even if it is not the truth, it can be stepping stones along the way, that every stepping stone is useful in that moment, and then when you reach the next stepping stone, you look back and you realize the previous one is not true, or it's partial, if anything. So in that way, that's why we keep talking about accept what is given, not because what is given is true ultimately. It's just because it is useful as a stepping stone. And then, sometimes I feel like it's actually really not helpful to talk too far ahead, like 2 stepstones ahead. We haven't, have the solid foundation of this stepping stone here and there. Then we talk about actually there is no ego. Or when the mind is still not obedient, let's say, to the guidance, we talk about just follow the bliss. It is ultimately true, truer than, okay, you need to be obedient. I can't say which is truer actually, but it's like the same. One is follow the bliss, don't be obedient to anything external. One is being obedient. Can you see that how much paradox that is? But then what is helpful becomes the only question. So be obedient for a period of time as the stepping stone, if only if that is given. And trust, that's where trust come in. How do I determine my awakening process? I can't. I have no way to know what is the right way to wake up or to rise above. The one that wants to know can never know, you know. So then we relinquish this one who wants to know and want to figure out all the time, but accept almost as the universe is telling you. You can see all the witnesses are telling you, follow, 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 follow. Okay, that's what somehow a part of me is drawing these witnesses to tell me this is my stepping stone right now. Let me just have this solid stepping stone, you know, followed, stepped on to move to the next one. Next could be just don't follow anything. Follow your bliss. Ignore all the rules, you know. Go where no man has gone before. If that is given, then follow that. That's why it's just, yeah, there is no, we don't want to talk about when we're, you know, this is what is given, and we talk about, what about that, what about that? They're all concepts, they're actually meaningless, completely meaningless. Yes, they're all true, they're all false, they're equally true, they're equally false. So what is, you know, the point of talking about, what about that? Let's just talk about what is given, and my attitude of, do I want to say yes, or do I notice like how much resistance that I have, how much I want to say no, as if I have a reason, a logical reason to say no, but it's really like out of this, you know, attachment, like the ego still has grip on the mind. It's really around that, and then just through following what is given, that will be loosened up. That's why it also comes down to now. What is now is to relinquish, you know, the investment in what is happening, but just really focusing on this. Do I have this yes attitude, or do I have this no attitude towards what's happening? Constantly wanting to attack, or constantly wanting to say, let me see the gift here. I want to say yes. Let me claim the gift. And the symbol of guidance has been used for us quite a bit when we, you know, when we still really rely on our logical judgment to operate in this world. Then the concept of guidance is introduced, and saying don't rely on your own judgment anymore, relinquish that, and really just tune in and follow the intuition. Keep following that, but eventually, you know, guidance fall away. You realize, okay, it's a big giant script that is already written. Everything is involuntary, and you have no control of anything. So it's constantly about saying yes. So even that, like, as when the guidance is still in the mind and thinking, do I get the guidance right or wrong? Do I tune in well enough and I get it, or I missed it? Oh, I felt this and then I was wrong. All of that have to fall away as well. Like this right or wrong in any way eventually become a block to the transcendence, to the rising above, both right and wrong, good and bad. Because I just want to say this because I really also want to remind myself constantly, like not using what has served to block me from moving forward. What has served, meaning guidance and fitting into guidance and tuning in to say, I feel this, but I don't want that to become a judgment put on myself to say that I need to be right. If I'm progressing in the spiritual path, I need to be more right in my intuitive power than before. That can't be the way that I think. If I get caught in this way of thinking, there is really just to fall into the same trap again, exactly the same trap again, because the I is hidden, untagged. And then with that hidden there, then we talk about, how well I'm done, how far I progress along the spiritual path. So yeah, it's not the transcendence that we're talking about. Anyone has anything to share? Sarah?
Yeah.
Maybe you can sit here.
Wheels. Yeah, I just love everything you're saying. Just had a conversation about it maybe 15 minutes ago, and this feeling like, even though duality is our constant thing, like we say one thing and it's not that.
Mm-hmm.
Practical application of it is like, I don't need to have an opinion on that. So it's like whatever is unfolding, very deep experience of what you shared is like the word conclusion, like the idea that it matters, that it becomes concretized, that I cling to this second beyond it. It's the judgment, the holding of a thought, like an opinion, an idea, that I even know what's happening. Like the transcendence is, I had this experience where I seemed to have a pile of wood, and I went out for the day and I came home, someone had burnt all the wood. And I'm like, okay, so there's no wood. So that's just seems to be the fact that there's no wood, And then there could be thoughts about it will be colder, but really, it was there. It had to stop right there. It could have gone on. It's just there is no wood. And there, that doesn't mean anything. It just doesn't mean anything. There's no wood, and that's it. And it became a transcendent experience because there is no wood. You're in a yurt, and you have a potbelly stove, and there is no wood, and that was it. And there was no wood for a month, but it was transcendent, the thought of there is no wood for a month, because each second I had that thought, it was just. I just didn't need to have an opinion on it.
That's it.
So
yeah,
that's very immediate.
Yeah,
And it's that simple. And there was something you were just sharing there about it's all involuntary. It's all whatever is, what's given is what's right in front of your face and what's unfolding. And you're talking about things that were helpful before, like even redirecting, or say, what was going on in your mind when that happened, or where are you now, or anything. It's like, I just see you're the answer to my prayers today, because I just don't have to have an opinion on that anymore either.
Yeah.
I can just say yes to everything. Okay, yes, this is how the project looks. Okay, yes, it's perhaps different to what we said, but yes. Yes, this is how the project is right now.
Right.
And I don't need to have an opinion on that. And then, if something else comes, great.
Yeah. And even even if that there is a no, but just the awareness of it and not being carried by it, also, help us to live beyond. Even just to know, wow, there is like a no, and I don't know what it is about, but just
yes, there is a no.
Right, there is a no.
I don't need to have an opinion on that.
Yes, the other part is, and yes, I have a no to it.
Yeah, and yes, I have a no to it.
Yeah, just to be aware there is a no to it, and not because.
Yeah. Because of the wonderful Wizard of Oz, it's just not.
Right.
Do not look at the man behind the green curtain. You won't find the answer.
Right.
It's just so great. Okay. Thank you. Such a treat.
Yeah, I had this experience as well. I recently just had this immense amount of gratitude coming up every time I do nothing, which I do a lot. Like, I don't have a lot going on, so I kind of don't do anything. And then I think, oh my God, I'm just so grateful. But if I really watch my thought, I think it's actually quite hilarious. Because then I'm thinking, to be honest, the thought wants to go this way, like I'm grateful for an object, and then I put, okay, doing nothing. I am grateful for doing nothing. Then it goes to, maybe I am to be in a hermitage phase. Maybe I'm to be away. From one split of object and subject, it could be simply gratitude arising. That's really what is going on. It doesn't have to be about anything. When I wasn't doing anything, at that moment, gratitude arising. And then the thoughts split up. I am grateful for this. I want more of this. I'm going to do this to make sure that I have more of this. I'm going to tell this, that this is me. This is what I'm going through. Like just the whole package come about. And I was watching, I thought, this is so funny. And then when I was unconscious, I would follow it through. I would start to tell people, yeah, this is what I'm going through. I'm going to go for a hermitage because this is the story going on. And then I might go to the hermitage, and after 2 days, no, I'm not really going for hermitage because the situation changed. It was just in that moment, and it wasn't really about anything. If I don't really have that going on in my mind of believing that thought, I just noticed there is a huge openness, gratitude, and then the next moment, and just move on. There is no story going on in the mind. There is no trying to manipulate in the script of what I'm going to do because of this. So the moment that I can see what the thoughts are, I can live beyond it, and I'm not affected by it. I won't be carried by it, it becomes really funny. And on the way up here, JP and I, we were just talking about how much we want to be so authentic to ourselves, and everything we say, we want it to come from a place of total authenticity. And yet how difficult it is. We might as well say nothing, because pretty much most of the things we would say, we're not really sure if we really think, I want it to be completely authentic. This is what I want, especially about what I want and what I feel. It becomes very difficult to talk about anything. That's why, like, you know, the more we go towards that authenticity, the easier it is to lift the conclusions up. Conclusions like, I like this, I want that, I feel to go to do this. It's like, really, there is almost like an interpretation going on in the mind, a filter that going on that translate this urge or this energy into a concrete box. And sometimes we'll miss the box, but you know, that's why we constantly just lift the conclusions, lift the judgments, what's going on, just be so open. It doesn't really mean we stop saying anything. We seal our mouths and say we never say anything because we don't know. But just, you know, again, words is like already scripted. Just allow it to come out, and don't hold yourself to what you say. Trust that, you know, okay, I don't fully believe this, but this has to come out. I'm not defined by what I say. And let it come out. And yet your mind, knowing that your mind is completely open, it doesn't mean that your mind is locked into what you said, what you just said, you know. It's completely open. So it's just a complete split of the script and the mind. It's funny to say that because they're like the same. The script, the image I see is a thought. I think. And yet when the mind stops being identified with the script, the mind is not identified with the thought as well. You know, it just, again, transcend.
I was laughing at the thought of being authentic towards whom, like, as well.
Yeah.
Both the receiver and the giver of everything.
Mm-hmm.
They might have ours. Do you want to see it? There you go.
Hey, Francis.
Hi, Laverne.
Hey.
Hi.
Yeah, I was just wanting to hear the sharing that you might have for us around this whole consolidation and what's happening in the mind. It feels like something major is going on or something different from the past, certainly, and no reference point for any of it. But yeah, I'd just like to hear what you have to share around that consolidation.
Yeah, sure. Um, yeah, I mean, before before we went into consolidation, I always knew that it's not about the 13 of us coming together in terms of bodies, but more like a mind consolidation. But to me, I had this vague feeling that it was going to be for me about the inner and outer consolidating, like external world and the inner world merging together. So in terms of what's happening there, I guess you guys are probably aware, like very early on, maybe the first few days when we all gathered together there in the monastery, David talked about letting go of the teacher, basically. So letting him go in our mind. And it's kind of really profound because in a way it is, we always know that, you know, the external teacher is always a symbol of the internal teacher. You know, just it's not really different, and yet when the mind has difficulty accepting or awaken to what is the inner essence of who we are, it projects all the unconscious to the script, to the screen, and it sees an external teacher there. So when he was saying that, what really happened in the mind was this realization of it is time to accept the inner teacher or the teacher within, and not to really rely on external figure. In anything, you know, it could have some practical applications in terms of our daily decision making, but it's really very symbolic. It's very symbolic of what's happening in the mind and what is called for in the mind, of accepting that the light is within, and now, you know, whether we think we're ready or not, you can fly with the spirit. Just go follow your bliss, and that is the time to not constantly asking for what is right and wrong, what is allowed or not allowed, and just follow whatever you feel is going to guide you to bliss, to the inspiration, to the opening up in your heart, and just follow that, and allow yourself to go even beyond what used to be in the template of even David's path. Now really go beyond where no man has gone before, no concept has ever reached before in the mind. Just go, just like this freedom to go. So in a way, it is really a big symbol for us, and also I see it as just for everyone. You know, it's a huge symbol So I guess I have to say that as the days following that, I had some really beautiful experiences myself as well. Just experiencing this deep peace, and the mind is so still, and then the realization, as I kind of vaguely sensed before the consolidation, that there will be some kind of merging happening within and without, and that's what I experienced, was that the external world is not even a reflection. It is me. It is exactly me. And one example I can give is that there was one day we had meetings and then talking about our Europe tour, so it was kind of full-on week. And then David and Jason came back to campus, and I stayed in the monastery, and suddenly just experienced this stillness in the mind, as well as the body as well, but it was just noticeable because there's no ability to grasp onto the thoughts anymore. The thoughts come, pass by, and it was so fast that I can't even pay attention to it. I can't even verbalize what they are. Just very, very. It's hard to describe because in that moment, I don't have. There was no identity to even experience it. So now I'm trying to claim the credit, but it was really nobody was there. Almost kind of nobody was home. And then so I was in this really deep experience, stillness for a whole day, and I thought, there was a thought that David's coming back tomorrow. Maybe I need to tell him that I can't participate in meetings tomorrow because it feels like a disability kind of feeling, just needs to be completely still. And that's when the moment came, when the realization came that there is no external world that I need to make a demand. I need to say, I hope this world is going to look like this so that I can experience certain things. I just realized, no, oh my God, this is my mind. If tomorrow is suddenly going to be a busy, busy day, it must be the same as the internal. There is no mismatch. I don't need to demand the external world to be a certain way. And so the next morning, someone called me while I was still sleeping to talk about booking a ticket and stuff. And there was this huge yes, this deep allowance, like I wasn't disturbed. There is no resistance because this has to be my internal experience. The business become my internal experience. It's not bad, like there is no judgment onto it. It's just what is. Yesterday wasn't better, like the stillness wasn't better than the business, you know what I mean? Like there was no judgment of any kind, and there was such a deep allowance to see that this is what I'm going through. And in that place, there was like this, just this such a deep trust and deep allowance, and there was no demand, no request, no grievance, and there was this deep harmony that's going on, just harmony. And then I just felt, wow, what is inner peace? Except it's just this deep harmony. There is no resistance to what is coming up. Even if there is a contraction going on, if there is no resistance, so I shouldn't be feeling this way, then there is a harmony. And there is inner peace, So I guess, this is the best I can to describe what has happened in the mind, so to speak. But it feels like there's still a lot that's going on. Just I can't remember most of it. Actually, every day even today, I was thinking, oh wow, but I can't remember what I was wowing about. Just like it feels. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think that actually that experience answered one of my biggest question on this path. In the last few years, I always was puzzled by this question, like because all the other teachers or the non-duality teachers would talk about allow your emotion. If you have emotion coming up, just allow it. Don't judge it, allow it. And yet, in terms of the course, we talk about the emotions are of the ego. If it is not pure happiness, supreme happiness, and it is of the ego. So the ego is because there are certain beliefs or judgments that's underneath it. So how can I just sit there and allow it if it's something that needs to be looked at and released and forgiven? So I kind of always feel puzzled when there are issues and emotions coming up. I was thinking, should I allow it or should I dig the belief underneath it and then release it? But this experience really gave me the answer, which the answer to me right now is they're both right. You allow it because that's what I was talking about, the harmony that's going on. You don't resist whatever that is coming up. If you resist it, then there's no harmony and there's no peace. But if you allow it, then whatever that is will be transcended. And the ego won't be locked by further judgment. It will be locked in. So it will be seen, and when the labels of fear or sadness or grievance, even the labels are removed, you just allow, just watch what's going on and allow the harmony, like there is no resistance to whatever that's coming up and not even putting a label onto it. Then you are forgiven. You are forgiving, everything, and the self that experiencing all of that is forgiven as well. It's letting go.
feel like I explained. When I was laying down. I just had an amazing afternoon. Eric came to find me, and he said somebody's on the phone. They want to talk to David. He's having suicidal thoughts, but then he thought maybe Salita can talk to him. If Salita can't handle it, give him David's number. And I just joined with this person who I've never spoken with. He said maybe he spent 3 hours listening to David's talks, and I just trusted this was for me to join with him in it. And I didn't really go into too much about even what he was thinking, actually. I didn't even ask him what the thoughts were. I don't even know if I mentioned suicide at all, but it was just really beautiful. He just expressed and told his story a bit. And after a while, I just felt like, okay, there's something a little bit more harsh coming through. Like, okay, we've told the story now. And then I said, he might be listening. I told him to listen to this. And I was just like, okay, I might be harsh right now. I was like, but you're only upset right now because it's not going the way that you want it to go. It's like he's having all these mystical experiences, really. And he wants to stay in these mystical experiences, but he can't function in the world. He can't fill out an application and I was just like, if you knew David, David is he can pretty much do anything. I mean, he is in such high function all day long, all the time. It's not like here kind of describing these periods of time where it's very relaxed and still, you have a lot to do. And you're my main link for the church, and you're just call me if you can't make a decision. And I feel like I make a lot of decisions, so I'm okay. I'll call you once a week or something. Yeah. So it can be, like you said, it can be both a great stillness and a great, activation. Mm-hmm. It's there's not one that's better than the other. And it's just the no to what's given that causes the congestion, that causes the upset, that causes the sickness.
Yes.
Yeah. And I was pretty clear with him, and he was like, oh my God, thank you for saying that. I didn't realize I was resisting. I told him too, I was like, too, I think, because he's he feels really guided, he was feeling really guided to read the Course a lot, and I was like, you put the Course in Miracles down, for a month. Mm-hmm. And he was like, I was thinking for a couple of days. I was like, no, a month. Mm-hmm. You need to step out of this hiding in your spirituality and get a job. And he's living with his mom, and that's all fine. But he doesn't need to do anything. But he's floundering, mm-hmm. right? So he needs to allow that activation to occur. Yeah, it was beautiful. It was a really beautiful experience. Mm. And then he wrote me a song. He's an amazing guitarist. Amazing. He feels like the Spirit just wants him to share his music. He can change the world. That was the other thing. He felt like he could change the world with his music. Mm. And I was like, there's no world to change. You're just here to share it, and whatever happens with it happens. There's no world that you're going to heal. And he's like, but I know it will heal the world. And I was like, well, you're going to be in misery if you think that your music is going to heal the world. There's no world to heal. So it was beautiful. So then after we got off the phone, we were ending the call, and he said, I don't really have any money to pay for this call. And I was like, I was really feeling actually you should share your music with me. And so he said, okay, I'll write a song. And then he wrote a song. And he titled it, Thank You, Salita. So it's really beautiful. And he said he could use it for anything. It's just this amazing guitar improvisation. I played it for Eric and Utah already. It's just gorgeous. Yeah. So he wants to send us music.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. And he's popped out. He's like, okay, I'm out of that. I'm not gonna. He just was. We never even really talked about suicide. It's just stay. above that, beyond that, because that's not even that's where we all want to be lifted to, right? That clarity of, I like what you said, there's no, it's almost like opposite. It's like getting to the point where we can so release our attachment to the way that the outside world looks, that we can harmonize the outside. It's not even like there's an inside to harmonize with the outside. It's just a big yes. I mean, that's what I love about that song. Just say yes. Just say there's nothing holding but a test. The trigger of my own love.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's just a beautiful. I love that stuff. Okay. Trust. Let's give them, I guess.
Yes. I feel to ask Mexico. Anybody wants to share anything?
Is there sound off?
Yeah, there's Gabby on within there. I just unmuted you guys if you want to talk. Stuff.
Okay.
Guess not.
We're communicating the mind. Yeah, today I was just, Eric is helping me with the Google Hangouts setup, and I feel so grateful for you. And I thought, I don't want to talk about it, to ruin it. I'm just going to send it to you. And I felt like we were. So do you have another song we can close this with?
Yeah, I didn't have one in mind, but actually I wondered if, I could do that. I also had the thought of Salida playing that song you just talked about. If you have it's just on your headphone. Yeah.
Sure.
Maybe you can go back up there, Salida is. Yeah.
Should put it closer.
I think it'll be good there. This is really, whatever the term is, active.
Okay.
This is called Thank You, Salida.
This is called Thank You, Salida.
That's amazing. That's absolutely incredible. Wow.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Might have to get him to Strawberry.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Mexico and Angel's Landing. Thank you so much for joining in today.
It looks like there's other viewers too.
Yeah, we have 5 viewers outside the room too.
Bye.
Thank you, Francis.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. So we get a video.
Well, that was Mexico once.
Well,
I wish